Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I know how it feels to be stuck in a cycle of negative thoughts. It's like there's this voice in your head and you just can't get rid of it. It keeps telling you that you're not good enough or you'll never make it. But I'm here to tell you that those thoughts are a lie. And in this video, in this session, I'm going to show you how to overcome them once and for all so that you can finally start living the life you've always wanted. If you're new to the channel, if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And here on the channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, and we help to encourage you to take charge of your life and your health, avoid complications, and live the life you've always wanted. Go to the next level. You've caught us. Today is day number 18. You see it up there, live every day in August. That's right. We're coming to you, and we are touching and we are doing the subject, designing a new me. How do we design a new version, a new, better version of ourselves? That's what we've been working on. And I'm so excited about all the videos that we've done so far. You're catching us on day number 18. That's right. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to give you a hand clap and give you some welcome music. So put new in the comments if you're out there. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat as well. And put a Q and a colon in front of it so that we'll know that that is a question that we need to get to. We really appreciate the community that we have, the community that we are growing. Thank you for joining us. If you've not looked at the other videos that we've done so far, we've done 18. Well, this is number 18. We've done 17 so far before tonight. And go back and look at those, share them with your family and friends. And if you are getting benefit from those and from this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you're out there. Share this, like the videos that we're doing. And then, of course, subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell so that you will know when we are producing more content. That's right. So let's jump into it. So the negative thoughts that constantly plague you and plague us can have serious implications on our health, both physical and mental. Studies have shown that people with the highest levels of negativity are at greater risk for degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's, cardiovascular diseases, and problems like strokes and heart attacks, and also problems in their digestive system. In addition, these findings also reveal that those suffering from other illnesses have a much longer recovery time than people who are positive in their thinking. It's only natural to have negative thoughts. I tell you, I have negative thoughts. I was plagued at one time with negative thoughts. After all, the world is a tough place to be, right? However, getting negative thoughts is not the issue. It's what you do with the thoughts that either makes or breaks your confidence and your self-esteem. If you find yourself dwelling on negativity more often than not, it might be time for you to take some action. And the good news is that there are steps that you can take to start overcoming negative thinking. And we are going to work on that today. Remember, nothing has any meaning, only the meaning that you give it. We've said that at any one time, there are about 2 million signals that are coming at us. And we filter those out to create a reality, because we would go crazy if we try to process all of those. So our understanding of the world is really based on what we've done, how we've summarized what it is that we're experiencing. So some things that you want to remember as we get into this session, right? Number one, you are not alone. Everyone on the planet gets some negative thoughts. Sorry to disappoint you. You're not special. It happens to all of us. Number two, negative thoughts do not harm you. It's what you say to yourself after the thoughts come to your mind that harm you. And you can change, finally, the thoughts that you want to have go a different way. You can change any thought that you want, and you can change the meaning. And if you change the meaning, you change your response. And if you change your response, then you change your behavior. If you change your behavior, you change your outcome. Let's give an example. Let's assume that you go to work and Joan normally sits next to you. And you walk in one day, you're sitting at the desk and Joan comes to work and she doesn't say anything. She doesn't say good morning. She just walks by you, sits at her desk. And it's not like she's walking way down the hall. Like you guys are sitting right next to each other. And immediately, the immediate thought is, man, she ignored me. Oh, I must not be that important. She obviously has something better to do than to talk to me. And what do you begin to feel? Anger. You begin to feel, well, maybe I'm worthless. I'm inadequate. I'm useless. Right? So all those things happen not because she ignored you or she walked by you, but they happened because of what you thought. Suppose she was thinking about something else. She didn't even realize that you were there. She didn't see you. She didn't, right? There was something else going on that had absolutely nothing to do with you. But because of what is going on in your head, you gave a particular meaning to it. In this session, I'm going to teach you a technique to use to control your own inner dialogue, that thought process, that little guy that sits on the shoulder, right? And to start to make your dialogue more positive. The first thing that we want to do is we want to talk about how the body and how the brain processes our thoughts. And I'm calling these thoughts and distortions. Thoughts and distortions. And there are actually 13 of them. We're not going to go through all 13. We're going to go through a few, and then we're going to give an example of how to use this. Okay? So let me pop my my little diagram up there. So, well, let me run through them real quickly. So when we think about thoughts and distortions, there are a lot of different ways that we process information. Whenever something happens, right, we assume we know what's going on. For instance, in that example, we assume that Joan ignored us on purpose. We can begin to generalize, overgeneralize. We can talk to ourselves about, something should, this should happen, that should happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we run into a problem, right? So all those things can happen. But we're going to run through a few examples of how to use this here in just a second. Let me pop back up our diagram. And so the event that happens has absolutely no meaning until we give it meaning. Let me say that again. The event that happens has no meaning until we give it a meaning. So Joan walked by and nothing is happening other than that she walks by. She didn't say anything. We can then begin assuming that she didn't like us that morning, or we did something that morning, or she was mad at us that morning. Right? So that's assuming, where we are putting onto Joan, putting onto the event some meaning. We can also overgeneralize, right? I always fail. Like I never do anything wrong. Really? Do you always fail? Do you always do something wrong? Are you doing something wrong right now? Right? I always end up on the losing side. I always make mistakes. Everyone hates me. Do you hear that overgeneralization? I never cook anything good. So how can you turn that around, right? Let's take the cooking one, right? So sometimes my cooking doesn't turn out the way I want it, but I'm a cook. I'm a good cook overall. But this time something went wrong. See the change? With the assuming, right? I know that this movie is going to be bad. I know that I'll make mistakes if I lead this project. I know that people just don't like me. People hate me. Or we could say, I'm going to give this movie a chance. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to give it a chance. And so our thought, our reframing, if you will, is what gives meaning. How about shoulds? We always say a lot of shoulds. I should be thinner. I should make more friends. I should be earning more money. I should be more friendly. I should be, right? All these shoulds. What shoulds are these are really sayings that we use that place demands on ourselves. And so when we say we should something, that means that right now we're not doing what is supposed to be happening. So we must be doing something wrong. Do you see that? so that if we can get rid of the shoulds, right, we can change them to want or coulds. I want to do this. Or how could I do this? Once again, that reframing changes how we will respond to it. Labeling is another one, right? So I am a loser. I am stupid. I am ugly. So I am labeling myself, right? This is when you give a name or a statement that describes who you are. And when you're saying this, just like the generalizations, you're saying that you are always that. You are always a loser. You are always stupid. In every aspect, right? All the time. I always am on the losing team. Instead of saying I'm a loser, you could say, that didn't work out the way I would have liked. You see the difference? That didn't turn out the way I would have liked. There's also denying positives. And this one is an interesting, and we all do this one without much fanfare, right? It's just commonplace. And this is where you're overlooking positive things that are going on with you or that people are saying about you. Yeah. People say, hey, you did a great job on that presentation. Or you look fantastic. And what do we say? Oh, that was nothing. It was easy. Or, yeah, this is just an old dress that I threw on. Or you're just saying that. Are you just trying to butter me up? See what we're doing? We're undercutting the positive. You've just discounted the fact that you worked really hard to get that job or to work on that project, then get that presentation, or you spent time putting that outfit together so that you do look good. So what's wrong with simply saying, thank you? That's it. You don't have to go into how much time you put in. Just thank you. Acknowledge that you did it well and acknowledge that somebody said that you did it well. There's nothing wrong with that. And you would give credit to somebody else who did a good job, wouldn't you? So why don't you accept the credit when you do a good job? Receive the compliment and say thank you. How about they all lived happily ever after? What does that mean? Right? This is when you look at someone else and you say they have a perfect life. Have you ever thought, that should be me. I should have that house. I should have that job. They must be happier. They are better than me. That's unfair. We started at the same time. We started the same job. We went to the same school. We're the same age. So the assumption is that because of what you see, that they are better, they are further along, they are happier. And are you looking for a perfect world? If you are, you're setting yourself up for some disappointment, right? Everyone has things happen to them, good and bad. You're not special. I know I said that already, right? Everyone has things happen to them. So instead, why don't we appreciate the things that we do have? What could I do to improve my situation? What could I do? And then sometimes we blame others, right? So these are all, once again, these are things that the brain does in terms of negativity, right? Those negative thoughts. We don't accept responsibility for the outcomes that don't go our way. Oh, when it works, sure, I did that. But when it doesn't, right? It's only my parents. If they had only been more ambitious, I could have been more successful because they could have left me an inheritance. If only I didn't have to take care of whoever, then I could have worked a different job. I could have lived in a different city. I could have done a different degree. He made me feel bad. The downside with saying all of these is that we are not taking the responsibility. And we end up feeling like victims because, after all, if they did it to us, if they are the cause, then we don't have the control. And it's not our fault. Right? But what we got to do there is accept that the event did happen. And the event had an effect on us. It left an effect. So how do we turn that around? How do we turn that around? We accept that the impact of that event happened. And we are responsible for how we feel about it and how it affects us. So, how do we stop these negative thoughts? Let's go through this little activity. So the first thing, so now we've talked about some of the thoughts and some of the things that the brain does in terms of creating negativity, negative thoughts, negative ideas. And so this activity is going to help us do this. Now, let me say this. It is sometimes difficult in the moment to get rid of a negative thought. Let's be honest, right? Because sometimes the emotions are going. So what we've got to do as we are learning how to design a new us, build a better us, we have got to take some of the things that we're learning and we've got to work on them, practice them prior to an event happening so that it is present of mind. It is on the top of our mind. It is something that we are incorporating so that when we are in the situation, then now it's more likely for that to pop in. Okay, so let's remember that as we go through this example. And so the first thing I want you to do is you're going to create a little grid on your paper. Grab it in your journal, by the way, right? We've talked about the journal. And so what we're going to do is we are going to create 3 columns. And this is called the event. Remember, we talked about the event. The event happens. What was the event that made you feel bad or made you have a negative thoughts? That's the first column. The next column is going to be to describe the emotions that you felt. And then the last column is going to be the intensity of the emotion from 0 to 10. 0 meaning, oh, I didn't feel anything at all, or it was very minor, or 10 means, oh my God, this was like the hugest, this was like the biggest thing. Okay. So those 3 columns, this is the event that we're talking about. And then you have this first column, first row. And yeah, let's pop that up. So here, my girlfriend and I broke up. My girlfriend and I broke up. So that's the event. That's what happened. That's what made me feel bad or have a negative thought. And what did I feel about it? I felt depressed. I felt worthless. I felt inadequate. Depressed, worthless, and inadequate. And we're going to rate it now, intensity. Right? So I felt depressed, and it was a 9 out of 10. I felt worthless, 8 out of 10. Inadequate, 8 out of 10. So those are some pretty intense emotions, right? Which makes sense because we broke up, and I'm in it right now. Right? So that's the first one. That's the first table. This is the event. And then we are going to analyze. We're going to analyze our thoughts. So in the first column, we're going to write down what was the automatic thought that came and what was the intensity. In the middle, what was the distortion, right? So we taught thoughts and distortions. Well, were you assuming? Were you blaming? Were you ignoring? Were you minimizing? Right? So all those things that we just went through. And then, what change are we going to make in the distortion for a more reasonable one? What are we going to exchange it for? What's the shift? What's the frame? What's the reframing that we're going to do? Right? So remember, these are things that you're going to have to sit down and do this, and you'll pick. And what I recommend is pick something that happened recently. It's not going on right now necessarily. It could be. But pick something that's been going on, something that's happened, maybe something you've come through, or something that maybe even currently going on, where you know that you have some negative thoughts, and write that down. And so here are the automatic thoughts. So we broke up, me and the girlfriend broke up. It's my fault. That's the automatic thought. She hates me. Without her, I'm nothing. I'll never find love again, right? So all those things are going on. That's your first column. What were the automatic things that came to your mind? And then what were the distortions, right? We're personalizing it, making it mean more about me than maybe just the situation, right? For instance, in the example where Joan comes in, we made that to mean something about us. Where we were personalizing it. And then we were assuming, right? So assuming in this example, me and my girlfriend broke up. She hates me. Without her, I'm nothing. I'm assuming. I'll never find love again. I'm assuming. I don't know that. And then we're going to rate those from 0 to 10 once again. So I really, 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 really feel that it's my fault, right? And she must really hate me. And my God, if she's not with me, I'm nothing. And I'm never, ever going to find love again. Have you ever been in that situation where you feel like, oh my God, this is it? Right? And here we're talking about a relationship, but it could be anything. It could be a job that you lost. It could be a car accident that you were in. It could be something that you bought. Right? So you apply this to lots of different, the degree that you wanted to get but you didn't get. The class that you failed. I failed it because that teacher hates me. Okay. And because I failed that class, I'm never going to get my degree. I'm always going to be a failure. I'm never going to get a job. And if I get a job, it's not going to be a good one because I failed this class. You see what happens? Those are the automatic thoughts. And we're going to rate those. And then we're going to figure out, okay, how can we change that? So it's my fault. I can change that to we are both at fault and both have made mistakes. Right? That's a good one. I like that reframing. She hates me. She might just feel that I'm not her type. That's all. Right? Without her, I am nothing. I won't know this until I try. Right? But I'm projecting, I'm assuming that that's going to be the case. And I'll never find love again. Once again, I don't know that. I could meet someone else that is going to be better. Yeah, that happens. So that's going to be our second table. So we did the event and we went through that process. Now we're analyzing our thoughts and we are making a shift. And here, this is the fun part, right? So now we've made the shift. We're going to go back and for the first column, and we're going to figure out how did our thought change. So remember, the intensity of it's my fault was 10. Like I really, really thought it was my fault. But when I started thinking, well, we're both at fault. We both made mistakes. Then the intensity of it's my fault came down. The same thing. She hates me. Well, she may just not think I'm the right one. So now the intensity of that comes down. Without her, I'm nothing, right? It was a 10. I said, well, I won't know that until I try. Now that's a 7. And I'll never find love again. Well, I don't know that. I could meet somebody that's better. So, wow, that one went down. All right. So notice what happened when we reframed, when we made the shift in our thought process, our feelings about those automatic things that came to our mind, those negative things went down. And you can do this for yourself. You can process this, right? And you'll see those shifts. That's why I want you to record these. Make sure you're doing these in your journal. And then the ultimate part of this, beautiful, beautiful, look at this, is we're going to now go back. And you remember the top table, the event table? Remember, we felt depressed, we felt worthless, and we felt inadequate. And it was a 9, 8, and 8. And now that we've made the shifts in our thought process, we've reframed, we're going to go back and we're going to grade the intensity of those emotions. And notice the depression went down from a 9 to 5. The worthlessness went down from an 8 to 6. And the inadequacy went down from an 8 to a 6. So what we've just done is by reframing. Now, people would say, oh, those are very small changes. But I'm telling you, the change is amazing. Even small shifts can begin to take us away from the negativity. So we start with an event, right? And we're going to write out what caused us to feel bad or feel sad or have the negative thought. We're going to say what we feel, what emotion do we feel? And we're going to grade it. And then we're going to begin analyzing it, right? So what are the automatic thoughts that came to our mind when we thought about that event? Write those down and grade them from 0 to 10. How intense do they feel? 10 being, oh, like really, really intense, and 0 being, And then what are the distortions that you feel? Personalizing, assuming, right? Minimizing, right? We went through those. And what I'll do is in the description, we'll have that a link to for you to get the rest of those. And then we're going to change the distortion. We're going to change what we're telling ourselves. We're going to change the words. We're going to change the verbiage. We're going to reframe. And then once we reframe, we'll go back. We'll regrade those automatic thoughts to see if they've gone down, if they're less intense. And then we're going to go back and we're going to change the intensity of the emotions that we felt. And as we go through this process over and over and over, we're going to get better at doing this at the time that these events are happening. All right. So that's the beauty of working on this. This is a process that you're going to go through on how to change those negative emotions, changing those thoughts. It's beautiful, beautiful. We all have these thoughts from time to time. Those negative voices that are in our head that tell us, yeah, we're not good enough. We can't do it. It's not worth trying. If they are left unchecked, these thoughts can become self-fulfilling prophecies, leading us to give up before we even start. The good news, right, that we just did is that we don't have to be victims of the thoughts. Just as we can choose what we eat, what we wear each day, we can choose the thoughts that we focus on. So the next time you find yourself caught in this spiral of negative thinking, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are in control of your thoughts and in control of your life. Beautiful. We are so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us for this session. Amazing. We are working on designing a new us, redesigning who we are. If you're getting some benefit from these videos, go ahead and like this one first. Give us a thumbs up. Share it with your family and with your friends. Let them know that we're here. We are on day 18, getting ready to go into day 19 of this live every day in August. If you've not already done so, go back and look at some of our other videos that we've done in this series over the month. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell so that you will know when we put out new content. Thank you for being here. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. On this channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, and we help to encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Go to the next level. Live the life you've always wanted. Thank you. Good night. Let's get some music and get on out of here. Bye-bye.